WSFA TV News presents the second in its series on Black Montgomery. We will look at employment and job opportunities for blacks, and Norman Lumpkin will have a report on Montgomery's separate black society. Employment is directly related to education. Many black leaders feel the inferior educational opportunities afforded blacks in the past have resulted in inferior job opportunities for blacks today. Even whites involved in the field of education agree there is, or has been, at least some discrimination against blacks in employment. Since Martin Luther King's murder, there has been little unanimity among black leaders. But our survey revealed that black leaders in Montgomery favor quotas for employment. They are highly critical of what they call tokenism, and they detest the hiring practices of the city, county, and state governments.
Certainly in the area of housing and the area of employment, I think that this is our biggest handicap at this point, our biggest obstacle that we got to deal with. In fact, I favor a quota system for employing blacks over the nation. I believe that in every sector, public and private, that we ought to have a quota to reach in employing black citizens to ensure that racial discrimination would not be utilized in keeping black people from being employed.
This would be something you'd probably have to go into court to get, wouldn't it be?
Yes, in fact, of course, I believe the Philadelphia plan has certain aspects of the quota system, and of course, in a few school desegregation cases where boards of education have been found guilty of discrimination, judges have ordered that blacks be hired in proportion to the county population or in proportion to some numerical figure. So yes, this would require litigation, but I think that it is worth it, and certainly I think that if a quota system was used, we would certainly avoid much discrimination. I believe a man would then certainly be employed on the basis of merit, on the basis of his ability to do the job, rather than on the basis of his skin color. We are getting blacks employed in certain areas, but of course, as you know, we got the token blacks. We take one black and put him up front and dress him up and say, well, we're integrated now. This kind of thing I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about the tokenism. I'm talking about where blacks are employed, full-fledged employees, where blacks are over whites, whites are over blacks, black equal with whites in every aspect. This is the kind of employment that I'm looking at, and this is the kind of thing I'm advocating.
Given the present attitudes and the present mental state of the power structure, which I can't change, the only way I see that improvement is going to be made on any substantial basis is through a strict formula of racial ratios. And I think that's justifiable legally and practically. It's justifiable legally and practically to overcome the effects of past discrimination. It's not good enough now to say we're going to open the doors to everybody that's qualified regardless of race or color. That's not good enough, because in doing that, they're taking advantage of past discrimination. What we say now is we are approximately 35% of the people throughout the state of Alabama. We want a minimum of 35% of the jobs at the state capitol. If we are 35 to 40% in Montgomery County, we want 35 to 40% of the jobs with the county governing body. And we want the jobs in the city to be tied to the black-white population of the city of Montgomery. And we want this to be done over a period of time until the labor market stabilizes. And then thereafter, upon proper demonstration of a change in attitude, you can hire on the basis of qualification without regard to race or color.
When do you think this will come? Will there have to be legal action?
I think legal action in a lot of areas will have to be taken in order to achieve racial ratios in employment. But I think without racial ratios in employment, the black man will continue to be the last to be hired and the first to be fired.
I think that before we can rely sufficiently on the quota system, the merit system, we first have to do it in terms of a quota system. When we get even, then we can begin to apply, the theory of the merit system. But until we get our percentage, we won't be able to work on the merit system. We'll have to do it by quota.
Can I assume what you're saying then is that the merit system is not a fair system?
No, it's not a fair system. As you know, I'm sure it was built on segregation. It was a control mechanism to keep blacks out of the high-paying jobs, city, state, and county jobs. It was based on a test that was all white, and of course, not many blacks could pass the test because it was based on the white mentality, and they were not getting the same training in the schools.
So you are for a quota system?
I'm for a quota system at this point, until we reach the point of percentage-wise employment, and then I can work with them on the merit system.
Well, Norman, blacks here in Montgomery are still the last to be hired and the first to be fired. If you go back prior to the enactment of the Equal Employment Act, most of your private businesses didn't hire blacks and took the position that we're not segregating, we're not discriminating by reason of color. It's just that we can't find any qualified blacks. And then the Equal Employment Act was passed. Those same firms then found few qualified blacks because it became necessary under that act. Now, the thing that disturbs me most about that situation is your larger employers, and I'm talking about your public utilities.
I mean the power company, gas company.
Gas companies, things like that. They'll hire a few blacks and put them right out front where everybody can see them, and then say we're in compliance with Title VII, you see.
Isn't there a pseudonym for these people, or
I'm not sure I understand what you're getting at.
well, isn't there, aren't they called show niggas? Or?
Oh yes, well that's a common term. But more importantly, here in Montgomery, the largest single employer is government at the state, county, and local level, and that's where a look at the employment situation accurately describes the plight of the black man economically. Now you can go up to the Municipal Affairs Building, you walk in the main entrance.
That's the city.
That's the city. And of all the secretaries that you see sitting around, you don't see any blacks. All the blue-collar and white-collar workers in the clerk's office, you don't see any blacks. You go down to City Hall, you run into the same situation. The only blacks that you'll see are those blacks that are in very, very menial positions. Same thing basically is true with respect to the county governing body. You go to the county offices, you don't see any blacks. At tag time, when they have to hire extra personnel to sell tags, and we'll see this in just a few minutes, you don't see any blacks up there. You don't see any blacks in the tax assessor's office collecting taxes during tax time. You go in most of the other offices, you don't see any black secretaries. And of course, if you go to state government here, situation is even worse than it is on the municipal and on the county level. You just don't see any blacks in other than menial positions.
Well, I don't feel that there has been any real progress. There has been some progress made, but as you know, in the state, I'll start from the state. In the state capitol, I don't see any black faces or black girls working there yet as receptionists in any other capacities except janitors and maids. I did see a few in the kitchen the other day when a high school came down and had dinner with the governor. But so far as jobs on the state level, there has been no progress there since King. On the county levels, you have a few niggers who sit by the door, but their job is to do nothing but shuffle paper and sharpen pencils, and it's just a menial task. In the city level, you have a few, but there again, these are token positions, not people in any real policy-making position. So in terms of jobs, I think we have almost stood still since Dr. King's visit here in Montgomery.
I feel that in the city of Montgomery that there are a lot of business that have made a tremendous effort to integrate their facilities. On the other hand, I feel that we do have establishments here in the city of Montgomery who are still implementing discrimination in employment.
What is the Urban League doing to overcome this discrimination?
The Urban League has not started to implement programs as of yet. As you know, we are basically still in our organizational process. The area of job development is an area that the Urban League will be working in. The Urban League is an interracial organization which consists of both black and white. And I sincerely feel by working together, responsible leadership on both sides, black and white alike, that we'll be able to solve some of the problems.
Is there still discrimination, though, against blacks in the area of employment?
Well, I suppose in some cases there would be. I mean, to say that they are not being discriminated against by all employers would not be a fact. I'm sure that in some cases, I know for a fact that possibly maybe blacks will not hire white. And it's for many reasons. It's not necessarily because of color, but because of the nature of the business that they're operating in.
While the black population of the Montgomery area is about 30%, blacks still make up 50% of the unemployed. What do you think is behind these figures? Why does this situation exist?
I don't think you could pin it down to any particular reason, but there are many factors that are involved, such as in some cases, of course, the black has not had the educational opportunity that maybe in the case of some whites. There's been a lack of training. They, because of the income, have had to stay away from the school and not be involved in training. And of course, this does have a real effect on their being able to compete for jobs. It's a matter of competition for jobs.
Opportunities are available for blacks.
Certainly there are opportunities. As we discussed here, we received more openings than we were able to fill. I think we received, maybe 900, better than 900 job openings last month.
we made approximately 478 placements, which leaves in the neighborhood of 300 or 400 unfilled openings. And this is because we just did not have the qualified people to go on the job. Now, when I say qualified, many times you have qualified people, but they are not concerned with that type of work. They want to make a change in occupation.
State Employment Service officials have told us that, for example, in the month of September, they had over 900 job openings, yet they only filled half of them. Why, when we have 3.2% unemployed, why do so many jobs go unfilled?
One reason is this, is the employer, the person who employs the person. They have set certain things, you know, they have styled a man a certain way. You know, his hair may not be like they want. They come up with all these kinds of things, not trying to understand that this man is a product that can really produce. We are caught up in a vicious cycle. This is true. I recognize there are job openings in this town where people ought to be working. But then we are set up with all this rhetoric, and I do know that there are discrimination in jobs in this area. They are, and some of it is on the basis of color. I have to admit that I wouldn't be right. I'm out here fighting for jobs, and we go so much fighting for jobs. We go to banks. We go where we put our money. We go to stores where we spend our money. And we said to them, say on Saturdays, on Fridays, so many people are coming here buying at your store. Why can't you hire? Why can't you hire the unemployed? Don't you see that your tax dollar would get less? So I said that there are job openings. People are not moving in. Not so much, I'll admit that some people need retraining. Some people do not have attitudes that would guarantee employment. And this is another bag all to itself. But I do know that there are some people left out of jobs because of our old way of doing things. Mm-hmm. I like to say that I like to say another word to you that is not so pleasing, but it is real. I think that is a farce. I think that's very wrong. People, you can't stereotype people. I don't think God stereotyped people. He gives brains on the basis of a man's ability to perform. And I will not agree to that, because I don't think all of us, in spite of our handicaps, in spite of the strikes that are against us, that we no longer will accept the fact that if you're white, you're always right. If you're brown, you stick around, and black, you get back. Blacks, as well as any other group, are not lazy. There are some in all. You know, I can point to you a lot of lazy white folks, a lot of lazy brown people. I don't think we can stereotype, and I think this is something we can't get away with any longer. I do know that there are blacks in this city, in this community, have made marked improvement on their own, and remember that the strikes were all against us. And I'm not saying, I have to talk as a black woman because I'm really black. But I realized that, you know, I could have been handicapped as a black woman because I'm black. And I don't think blacks we want people to give us no handouts no more. We don't want nobody to give us nothing. We want handouts. We want to say to you that if we can produce, pay me. on the basis of my performance and not on the basis of my color.
It's not easy to draw a conclusion about black unemployment or underemployment. Many whites feel blacks are lazy and don't want to work. Many blacks feel they're being discriminated against. With better training and an end to discrimination, things can't help but to improve for poor blacks. And now, here's Norman Lumpkin.
When the public accommodations portion of the civil rights laws in this country were finally enforced, many whites who wanted to maintain legal segregation warned that the black here in Montgomery would invade previously all-white barber and beauty shops and other places considered extremely off-limits to Negroes. The predicted black invasion of these places has never occurred. There are several reasons for this, and in this report we will discuss black culture in Montgomery. Right there.
Tuesday afternoon at 4. My name is Martin. We've arrived at 1 o'clock this afternoon. It's 22 minutes now past 12. High noon of the capital city. WSFA is right on time. Shop-wise this afternoon, Mrs. Johnson has a gas stove in very good condition, only $35. And she also has a refrigerator in excellent condition that she's asking only $40 for. You can give her a call at 288-3182. That number again, 288-3182. And the city, these are the shout-outs as the change continues. Tuesday afternoon of the 12th of November.
Will be quiet.
But I don't feel that
going to a nightclub just because you're in an integrated setting does any good. I don't see what purpose it serves, just to go to a nightclub or to go to an affair just for integration purpose per se. I think that if you really want to be entertained or want to be exposed to a lot of cultural affairs, good, fine, go to whatever is open, whether it's black or whether it's white. But and as far as, you know, you say integration of neighborhoods, I don't believe that should be the case either, just to live in a neighborhood just because it's integrated. Because, you know, everyone here may not dig integration, you know.
You say on occasion you have a change where there would be a predominantly white audience.
Right.
Which do you prefer, though? Do you prefer to be in a predominantly all black situation or a predominantly white situation?
Well, truthfully speaking, it would have to be a predominantly black, all black, mainly because of the entertainment. Because most of us, you know, well, take yourself, maybe you like different types of music, you know. But as far as, you know, as we say, soul is concerned, you'll find this more so in the black clubs. Therefore, in order to get what you want, you go to the black clubs.
But with this new black awareness, blacks have a tendency now to more or less develop a society within the American society. It's more or less becoming a thing where this is our thing, we want it that way now. This is the way we like it, this is the way we'd like it to be.
Well, what has happened to the old integrationist, the black person who has worked for years and years to have the entire society integrated, and now the young blacks are saying we would like to have our own thing rather than integrate into the white man's cultural patterns?
Well, I think that the purpose that the blacks had a few years ago has been achieved. That being basically, I don't want to be discriminated against. If I wish to go, okay, I go. However, I think that it's served its purpose now. We know that we can go whenever we feel like it. So the purpose has been accomplished, fine, now we'll continue on our way.
As far as black culture is concerned here in Montgomery, most blacks feel that aside from the Black Pride movement, including the Afro cut and the power sign, lifestyles are pretty much the same now as they were before the era of marches and demonstrations. If asked, most young blacks will tell you that the dream of complete integration was just that, a dream. And they add that if there is integration, fine, but if not, that's fine too, as long as they can receive the same dignity and respect for the cultural patterns that are theirs as are afforded the white lifestyles. This final note on the problems of progress of blacks in Montgomery, a well-known militant black here in Montgomery was asked to describe the problems of blacks here. He said the whites are still not ready to accept Negroes as equal to them in education, housing, and employment. And that covers the entire spectrum of ways and means to live a more meaningful life. In describing the progress of blacks in this city, he used one word, and that word was anemic. A lot of whites might disagree with this assessment, but this and other more serious disagreements between the races have been marked by the complete lack of violence in the last 6 years, a kind of progress in itself. Norman Lumpkin, WSFA TV News reporter.